Hey guys, this is Naeem Fazal from Mosaic Church here. Excited to be with you guys. I want to share with you something that God has revealed to me the past couple of years, and I'm still kind of working it through. Um, After 9/11, things changed, right? But for my family, they drastically changed because my mom got deported out of the country to Pakistan. And so 6 months after she had been deported, I went to visit her because there was a chance that she would never come back to the States. Usually on plane trips, I am anticipating that God is going to bring someone who's going to sit right next to me, and I'm going to have a spiritual conversation. I kind of anticipate that. But on this trip, I was keeping a low profile because as an ex-Muslim going back to Pakistan, risky, and didn't want to get in trouble, and they kill people like me there. Anyways, on this trip though, on this particular flight, I'm sitting next to an Asian guy who's asleep the whole time, and then a Muslim girl, conservative Muslim, because she was all covered up, and when food came, she got the special food, the Muslim food, which is kosher food, which is halal food. And so I knew that on this trip there was no conversations going on, and that's it. So I was good. But by the end of the trip, though, I was having coffee and I spilled it. And when you're sitting there and everything is, and you're all set in place and everything spills, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And I was thinking, should I call, someone to help me? But anyway, while I was thinking that, this Muslim girl hands me some napkins, and because of that, we started up a conversation, and she actually speaks English, and so she starts asking me questions, and then she says, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, great." And so I go, "Well, I'm a motivational speaker," and which is true. I'm motivational, but I didn't want to tell her, and I couldn't, and so I'm like talking to her. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, "Okay, God, what's going on here?" Because I really didn't think I was going to be talking to this lady. Anyways, the plane lands, and we end up having an hour to just talk, and I end up just telling her my story, how God supernaturally saved me, and how Christ revealed Himself to me, and how Jesus just changed my family's life, and the reason why I'm going to Pakistan, and she starts telling me about the spiritual journey that she's on, and that she's always felt this connection to God, and that's why she covers up, and she wants to know God. At that moment, I remember telling her, well, I said, the next step for you is to understand who Jesus is, and to explore Him, and invite Him into your life, and to seek Him. And we had a great conversation, and as I was walking away from that moment, I just got struck with the reality that I totally missed it. I mean, like, I honestly judged the situation. I just thought that, I know God's supposed to be working in everybody's life, but I thought, God's obviously not here. Like, my God is not having a conversation with her because she's just so far away from the world I live in. And so I didn't really think that God was working there. So God began to speak something into me, and these questions that I want to kind of share with you. Do you think that sometimes as pastors, because we are so passionate and creative in creating spiritual environments and spiritual gatherings where we do small groups or growth tracks or our leadership events or weekend services, that we're so good at that, and we plan and prepare and pray for it, and then we invite God's presence into it, and God moves, and we're so used to that we just believe that God only exists in the world that's visible to us, meaning that God is only moving in places that are real to us. But the truth is that God is actually working in areas that we don't think exist, in lives that we don't think are being lived. meaning that God is working in people's lives beyond our spiritual environments. And this lady, I mean, I just think, okay, so God's Spirit was moving in her life, that she was, I mean, worlds away, um, and He's talking to her. And I didn't recognize that. Um, I ran into this lady, um, um, that I thought looked familiar. Okay, I was in Target, and I passed her, and I thought she looked familiar, and I didn't know where. I couldn't really place her, but I did know her, and she was actually a barista at a Starbucks that I go to often. And the thing is that she was wearing jeans, and she was in Target. She wasn't wearing all black and at Starbucks, and I didn't recognize her because of the context. I wonder if we recognize God, if we would ever recognize God, or if we do recognize God um, in places other than our environments. Meaning that, would I recognize God outside the walls, I guess, of my church, outside of the environments, the spiritual environments that I create? Because I know what He looks like, I know what He does, I know how He moves in the context that I create, but I don't think I know how He moves in the world that He's created. And as a leader, I think I'm guilty of leading people and growing people in a way that that teaches them to recognize God and grow with God to a certain degree, meaning that I create these spiritual goals for people, and I help them attain those goals. And as a pastor, I think I've become a person, or I'm wrestling with it, but a person that is being driven by goals and success, versus being a pastor who's led by God's Spirit. And a pastor who is not getting people to hit spiritual goals, but yet teaching people to be led by this invisible God. Led by this God who is not contained by any of our boundaries that we think we create. A God, a Spirit that moves throughout this world. And that my job as a pastor is to teach, to first live and then teach people to be led by God, instead of creating my life and my context and then inviting God into it. I think we're guilty of being driven by our search, pursuit for purpose and significance, instead of being people who are led by the Spirit of God. So, hey, this is something I'm wrestling through. I hope this helps. I hope this challenges you, helps you in your leadership. Thanks again for your time. See ya.